Thank you, Ambassador. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me also join Ambassador Bohač in welcoming you here in Bratislava. I hope you'll feel well here and our meeting will be a very productive one. This is the second, I would say, event of our chairmanship of this scale, and I can say, hopefully, that so far so good. A few days ago, you know that the world was shocked by another violent terrorist attack in Christchurch, New Zealand, apparently inspired by another extremist halfway around the world, which took lives of 50 innocent civilians. Days later, another senseless, brutal act of an individual took lives of 3 people in the city of Utrecht in Netherlands. And then, during last week in Milan, quick reactions of young passengers, an immediate response and well-orchestrated response of Italian security services have prevented yet another disaster. Scenes like these are reoccurring globally, and I think way too often in recent years. Unfortunately, we somehow got used to the idea that it is not if, but rather when, another tragedy will happen. Actions of violent extremists and tragic acts of radicalized individuals have become a virus, infecting our societies with hateful ideologies, harming our people, and hindering peaceful development. It is important to remember, however, that action of one causes a reaction of many. History proves that any act of violence creates a vicious circle of revenge, which is very, very hard to stop. An eye for an eye will only make the whole world blind, was said once by Mahatma Gandhi. Preventing and countering terrorism, violent extremism, and radicalization in the OSCE, known as VERLT, is a key security commitment of the OSCE participating states. It remains one of the top priorities for the Slovak chairmanship, and the Ministerial Council decisions dating back to the Bucharest Plan of Action in 2001 provide a solid foundation for these efforts. Our chairmanship aims to build on this foundation through this high-level conference. I encourage you during these 2 days to highlight areas of progress relevant to the specific regional challenges and threats posed by transnational terrorism. To be successful, efforts to eradicate terrorism must be multi-dimensional. The OSCE will continue to foster a comprehensive approach to security, linking all dimensions in full respect to international laws. In this regard, we must recognize the crucial role in prevention played by civil society, businesses, and by media. Our efforts must also be sustained. Violent extremism has been a problem for centuries, and it will not disappear overnight. Radicalization of the society, particularly young generations, is a huge concern. It is in our collective interest to make best use of the OSCE tools. First, the OSCE has tremendous expertise built up over decades to prevent and resolve conflicts peacefully. It also has accumulated the technical expertise to help us make our borders more secure, to improve security without damaging free movement of people or goods, and to tackle the root causes of terrorism. The OSCE is developing powerful human rights compliant counter-terrorism programs, as well as platforms and mechanisms for government and civil society cooperation to disengage individuals from violent extremism and terrorism. These efforts are mainly focused on programs to identify, redirect, and support radicalized youth who have not yet committed crimes, and to rehabilitate and reintegrate terrorist offenders. Second, the OSCE's strong presence in the field, particularly in Western Balkans and Central Asia, means it is ideally suited to conduct local programs, lead capacity building efforts, and coordinate among international actors. Through its field operations and the autonomous institutions, the OSCE has the knowledge and the connections to effectively fight the root causes of terrorism. Third, we need the convening power of the OSCE. We have to work together to find a way out of this vicious circle in which the root causes of terrorism, such as lack of perspective, division, inequality, exclusion, and hatred, are also its consequences. In order to do this, our dialogue, our cooperation, and the exchange of best practices must increase. We ought to work together to detect and prevent and counter indications of violent extremism and radicalization. It is in our own interest to ensure a strong, effective multilateral approach addressing these transnational threats. And that is why we are here in Bratislava today. This conference is an opportunity, and I wish us a very fruitful debate during these 2 days. Thank you for your attention.